Welcome to Magic in the Middle. I'm Sarah Adams Mar-Dumont. This is a space to pause, to find clarity, and explore where science and spirituality meet so life feels lighter and more aligned and you're thriving. Episodes drop every Monday. I invite you to take this journey with me to discover the magic in the middle. Hi, I'm so happy to be here with everybody. I love this community. I love seeing this community grow, and I love connecting with everyone in this community. And we're doing wonderful and beautiful things and learning about our brain and how we can be the greatest vision and version of ourselves and be more like a master of our own selves, which is not an easy thing to do. And so I have really special guests with me. Sabine, I want to welcome you. So I've known Sabine for 3 years, and I have worked with her, and she's absolutely just so kind. When I worked with you, Sabine, I just remember you have such a kind heart, your gentle voice, and Sabine is an executive coach and a clinical hypnotherapist, and and you can find her at the Turnaround Practice. And I'm going to have all the links and everything for you in the show notes. But Sabine, I just want to welcome you and thank you for being here. And so the magic in the middle, for me, I started the magic in the middle because I love exploring the mind. And nobody teaches you how to use your mind and your energy for creating the life you want or being the highest and best that you want to be. So let's back up a little bit and talk about your background. Let's talk about your background and then let's get into talking about what you do because that's exactly what you do is you support people and leaders in being able to manage this great machine we have. I don't know. I
Yeah,
hope that was the right way to say that.
yeah,
But
totally.
that's
Oh,
how
so
I feel. I changed when I worked with you. So,
oh, amazing. Oh, yeah, Sarah, we really had have a long time together. Like we actually met, I think, probably 5 years ago. So we know each other
yeah.
for quite
Oh,
a
that's
while.
great.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, you have such high energy, and it's so thank you so much for having me today on the podcast. It's amazing. It's so lovely to be here. So thank you. And yes, so I'm the founder and director of Turnaround Practice in Australia. I'm an executive coach and a hypnotherapist, and I work with leaders and especially female leaders and professionals to step into their confidence and to develop strategy and then execute that with impact. So it has a mindset piece, a strategy piece, and an action taking implementation piece in the work that I do. And yeah, we met in consulting. So yeah, I worked in large scale organizational transformations for over a decade across the globe, really, from Europe and the US to Australia, where I'm based now. And I've been coaching for the last 12 years, so since 2014. And I bring the corporate context that I worked with to the leadership coaching. So it's really what I the core of my work is to combine the best of the worlds. Yeah. So the mindset and the strategy part and the coaching with the corporate transformation, the corporate work and the corporate world. And I do that by strategic deep mindset work that enables my clients and the leaders to find the most effective solution. So it's you can't think your way out of subconscious patterns, and mindset alone won't build your strategy. And that's why I combine the two approaches.
See, and that's what I love. The subconscious is like what, 90 or 95% driving us, right? And so what you do is you go deep in and help to be able to, um, what's a good word? You help just to go in deeper into the mind, into the subconscious to help change patterns, right? Maybe
Yeah.
patterns that are not supporting us.
How I say I want to help you have your subconscious work for you, not against you.
I love that. I love that. And today we're going to talk about, so the talk is called Below the Surface, Why High Achievers Doubt Themselves and What Actually Shifts It. And so, it's kind of hard to believe sometimes hard that high achievers are doubting themselves, but that's just part of being a human in general, right? And so you help people to dig deeper and to find that confidence. So I want to talk about your story. So it didn't start in coaching, it started somewhere very different. So can you take us back to the moment you realized the path you were on wasn't actually yours? And I really love this because I feel like a lot of us go through this and we wake up one morning and what was it, Kevin Spacey, that movie? And we're like, hello, wait a minute. This is not what I thought I was signing up for, right? So tell us about that.
Yeah. So, Sarah, my story indeed didn't start in coaching. In fact, it started in finance. And I worked as a marketing and sales controller for nearly a decade across different industries, from not-for-profit to pharmaceutical, chemical industry. And for me, it was not that I woke up one morning and realized this isn't right for me. For me, it was really like a journey of probably 1.5 years. So,
Mm.
and the last role that I was in really made this incredibly visceral and palpable and really just showed it to my face. And it was in my face. Yeah. And I realized back in the day was in sort of a company which was obviously very numbers driven, as many companies are, but it was very ongoing crisis there. And what I actually could do, and I wanted to work with people, was sort of not so much on the agenda there. It was all about, it's crisis and we have this and the numbers and the production and yada yada. And one day I had like this project manager in tears because she said, well, we can't deliver that, and I do not know how to do that in the business case and the numbers and yada yada. And I said, well, I come to you. Yeah, I come to you. We will look through this together. We're gonna work through it. I help you. And then the CFO, and she was a good person. Yeah, she was a good person, but just the remark, said, well, the project manager's in tears and stuff, and then she all she had to say was, that's not gonna be the last project that has a bad profitability. I was like, hang on a minute, that was sort of not the core of my message. We have here devastated people. Yeah, I get the numbers, but also there's a human sort of element and an important human element. And that sort of was what showed me that I wanted to work more with humans than with numbers. And that was sort of one key moment. And then also another key moment for me was that the environment that I was in, so there was really a misalignment, and my role was a misalignment, but I was a high achiever, right? And it was like, this has to be achieved, and I want to be CFO, and I have this vision for my career, and this is what it has to be, and I'm so determined, I'm gonna make it there. And it was all like with a lot of inner pressure that I had put myself under, and that was also working on my brain. And then I trained for the half marathon, and yeah, 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 and I have to achieve and stuff. And then I had this sort of key moment after the project manager was in tears, right? And it was like a week later or so. And I wanted to go to my sports physician to like do tests for my running, and then I couldn't find the address. So I was really sort of, my mind went completely blank. And I said, okay, well, this is sort of what this whole thing is doing to me. Like it's sucking me dry. It's depleting also my cognitive energy, right? And I thought, okay, this isn't right. And then I left. It was a Thursday, and I left that office on a Thursday and never went back. And from there, then sort of 6 months of coaching followed, and I realized the path that I wanted to be on, and a lot of reflection. I went back to uni and sort of did still the management piece of it, and masters in business administration, org development, of how can we set up organizations better than we're doing it now. And the
Mm.
other big piece was I started with coaching. I started my coaching diploma, and then off the back of that, did some psychotherapy training as well, and hypnotherapy training back in Austria. And then yeah, started in a consulting company where it was around change management and bringing people on a journey and large scale transformations. And then I did that for 10 years roughly, like 9 years. And then started my own business, going back to the core of working with people, and also having even more of a focus now on working with high achievers who doubt themselves.
Yeah. I I love that story, and I love how you're demonstrating how your brain can just short circuit and go, nope, we're not doing this. Yeah, and so for me, when that has happened, I know now through all the learning I've done and the growing and the podcasts and all the different things working with you, I understand that better. But I remember in the beginning, for me, that was a real hit on my self-esteem because I thought something was wrong with me. Do you get a lot of people like that, or, because it does seem like, what is wrong with me? I can't even deal, and I want to be this great
Yeah.
high achiever leader. How could I do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I do get that. And I was thinking the same. I thought, I'm not good enough for this. Yeah. So it's quite, I do hear that a fair bit. And I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. That when a situation isn't right, we sort of don't always look at what are all the factors involved, but we take it on us. So if we can't get a job we want, or we can't get promoted, or we can't lead the team we want, or the project we want is not a success. It's more like, what have I done wrong? And while there is always something to learn, yeah, and I'm not swiping it away by any means. There's always something to learn, but there are other components. So yes, I have a component in this. And what are all the other factors? Like the role, the experience set, the skill set that you may need, and other people that are involved that might work against something out of their very maybe valid reasons, and the economic situations. Like there's so many factors involved, and that's also what stress does, is it narrows the view, and then we revert to, oh, it's wrong, it's something wrong with me. Well, there might be five other factors, and it's rarely that it's really just one factor and that's only you. Yes, there might be part of it, but what are all the other parts?
Yeah, yeah. And that really helped me when I learned that. And then stress, narrowing the view and learning tools and things to go, step back, bring yourself back from it. Um, and you work with high achieving leaders who are capable and experienced, but still find the confidence is a daily battle. So, what's going on underneath that paradox? Like, let's dig deeper into that. And like with what you do, maybe we could talk about kind of how you work with people and how that helps them, like how that goes beyond that.
Yes, so that's one of my core topics when people I work with
Yeah.
who are experienced, capable, they have a great track record, but they're still sort of insecure, and there's something getting in the way for
Mhm.
them to see what they're actually capable of and what they are doing. And very often that goes back to patterns learned early in your life. Yeah, so that is a subconscious distraction that blocks your view on actually your experience and your skill set to be more realistic about that. So going back to like maybe primary school or school years or puberty or young years where somebody might have failed or they were taught or told, you can't do that, then they develop this belief around I'm not good enough, or I'm not sure if this is right what I'm doing. And it's always what especially high achievers have is this horizon view or the moving goalpost, as I say. They achieve something and then suddenly it becomes the new normal. Like, yeah, well, that's normal now. There's nothing special, and other people are doing that too. So, but
Mhm.
maybe I should be doing something else. And they're always comparing themselves to the next level up. And that's a sure way to make yourself feel as not achieving or as falling short of something. Yeah. And what I do in my work is number one, to interrupt the stress cycle, because as we said, that narrows the mind and you revert to the shortcut of what you established at some state in your life. You're not good enough. You're not meeting targets. What you're doing is not meeting expectations, and all that is subconsciously running. Yeah. And
Mhm.
the more stressed somebody is and the more under pressure, the louder this voice gets and drowns out other things and blocks the view on objective sort of assessment of a situation. Yeah. And sometimes you really just end up with not being able to think. And so what I do really from very um, free offers and easily accessible tools that you can just find from my website to really working in one-to-one settings is to number one, find a relaxation point and just help the mind switch off from all this sort of what loops in the head and goes round in circles and the ruminating, right? And interrupt this and then actually go back to where did you learn that and review that situation based on your knowledge now as an adult and from the viewpoint of people you work with and what would they say to the situation you're in and what would they say about your capability and about your experience and about your achievements and how you're a team lead and how you're leading an organization, yeah, and to open up this perspective from very singular focus to like a prism of what do other people think and what do they see. um, and really, and that's typically an 18, 19-minute session, after one session, people become clearer. They see outside of that limited view and see other angles to that situation. And often they say to me, I've never looked at it that way. Actually, now that, and I
Mhm.
really see this now. And really, one client I was working with, she was very concerned. So she returned from maternity leave. She was very concerned around what are people thinking of her now? And what is the client thinking and what is her leadership thinking? And she felt like people are watching her and she felt scrutinized. Yeah. And obviously she said, yeah, well, I've talked to a counselor, but then I talked with them and nothing ever changes. And it was really taking her back. And we did that in a guided, as you say, Sarah, guided meditation. Yeah, it's a guided meditation, imagery work, you could say, in a hypnosis regression session where she walked back on her timeline to where actually she learned that people are talking badly about her. And it was a situation from school where
Mhm.
she was bullied and then people talked badly about her back and that created this fear of people are talking about me about my back and they're talking about me negatively. That's the core thing to understand. That experience had really nothing to do with her actual experience she was in now as a leader in her company and in her project, but the situation she was in triggered that old reaction. So often we're exposed to situations and triggers, and we're not responding to what is, but what we have once learned. And um, once you can pick that apart, and you can differentiate that in what is old learning and what is the current situation, you open that space for sort of realism and for response and conscious choice and thinking and strategy, rather than operating out of autopilots that were created maybe 20, 25, 30, however many years ago, right? And that's the almost immediate benefit people walk away with is this, oh, hang on a minute, I used to think that, but I'm not thinking that anymore because actually things are different. And I know that from work myself because I have this sort of comparison. So I got compared a lot. Yeah, I got compared in primary school a lot to the other girls where the mums were with the primary school teacher all the time and brought the cake to school and they were like all around that the girls were like beautiful and great at maths and great at reading and great at sports and whatnot. And sort of I got compared to that, or felt I got compared and always fell short. And then when I started my business, because you are in situations where you're in the pressure cooker and starting new roles, starting new projects, taking on a team, starting your own business, you sit in the pressure cooker. And that leads to these things are coming out. And then you really meet yourself. And I was thinking like, oh, I'm doing this so much worse than others are doing it and what not. And I worked then on myself with my supervisor and said, look, I'm going nuts here. Like I'm losing it here. Yeah? And we went back to that situation of, oh, this is where it comes from. And then the brain can differentiate. And then there was a situation where I saw somebody had something fantastically achieved and I thought, what are doing so well? And I could like never do that. And then it hits where the, oh, hang on a minute. I used to think like that, but I'm not thinking that anymore. And then for like a few weeks, you have this really where you see how the switch flips from this is what I used to think. I know, but that's how it is. Yeah. And then it becomes the new normal. And that's what I also hear from like clients in terms of they think I used to think that, but I'm not thinking that anymore because it's different. So that's one thing that really people report back, or they forget about it that ever was a topic. So then I talked to the same client 2 weeks later for a strategy session. She was, yeah, look, I'm really doing well, and it has improved with the directors and with the client and yada yada yada. And there's no mention about that. She thinks that anybody's talking about her. Yeah. So
Yeah.
either people really feel that shift or it's just not a topic and they forget about it and they just move on and they move down other paths.
And that's what happened to me. Actually, both. 'Cause did we get work together like 5 or 6 weeks or something? Quite a long time. And for me, I forgot about some of the things we were working on. I was like, I don't know. But also I felt I didn't feel those feelings inside that I was feeling. Like I felt stronger and it wasn't an issue. And it's like, so if I hadn't met with you, I could be still trudging along, but I feel like working with you, like you take these big jumps over these giant rivers, like you're jumping over the Mississippi River and then you're taking this rocket and you're going to Australia you're, and it's not like I mean, you are bypassing things, but it's in a healthy way and you're taking leaps and bounds where otherwise you might be just continually struggling with this, like you're saying, like, being compared to the other girls, and you're like looking at that comparison, or um, it's, I just think it's really powerful work, and it's a great way to move quickly through things to the next step. And it gives you so much clarity. Like, you're not your mind isn't chewing away at that anymore. You're not ruminating at it anymore because it's gone.
Yeah. And you said that actually it's like an old tape running. So
Yeah.
that's a phrase that I use now that actually you coined. It's just like an old tape running in the background, right? And the clarity is because there's not sort of the underlying pattern running and the inner voice that sort of keeps distracting and disrupting, and then you have your conscious thinking over that, but it goes on in the back of your head. Because once it's addressed, it becomes conscious, it's aware, and then the brain can differentiate and sort it out. Like it can really yeah, like put it in the right context. Yeah,
Hmm.
and it becomes clear. It's all not blurred together, but you have this train of thought. Okay, that's like my thinking or what I used to think, and then this is what my conscious choice, and really the paths get like differentiated. Yeah, like you
Hmm.
can really recognize what's which, and that's
Hmm.
where the clarity
Yeah.
comes from.
It's like changing the tape. It's like
Yeah.
changing the tape in your boombox. You're like, I don't want to listen to that anymore. I want something more
Yeah.
energizing. It is.
Or it's not
Yeah.
true anymore. Like you think, actually, it's not
Yeah.
true. What I'm thinking is actually literally not true. Huh?
It's not. It's not. And the realization of that is so empowering. And for anyone, whether you're a leader or not, it's so empowering to be able to get beyond that and see, oh, that was just a place and time. My brain picked this up, it decided to store it and run it as a tape, and that's been running me, and I don't have to allow it anymore. And
Yes.
now I know the difference.
Yes. You can tell the
It's,
difference and you get back in the driver's seat.
yeah, yeah, in the driver's seat. I like that. Um, And I'm just looking at my notes. My podcast listeners know that I like to have my notes here. Oh yeah, so you make a distinction that I think a lot of people haven't heard before between the doubt that's undermining you and the doubt that's actually trying to tell you something. I love this. So can you walk us through that? Because doubt not is not always the enemy, right?
No, no. Sometimes it's your informing agent. So we've
Ooh.
spoken before about the mindset and the past learnings that interfere and that distract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one distinction. And sometimes you have all the experience and you're capable and you're still doubting yourself. That's a mindset first approach. And then it's the other thing that you might be in a role where there's a misalignment or an experience misalignment, or there's something, a misalignment in the environment or with the actual work you're doing. And then the doubt is very healthy and it can tell you, hang on, there are gaps. And depending on what the answer is to the question, do I just doubt myself despite great experience and capability? Or do I doubt myself because there's actually something wrong? Is an important distinction to make because based on that, the path forward is different. So either you work on your mindset first and then on the strategy and implementation, or you say, well, actually, I'm not naturally underconfident. And that's what I also have sometimes in my business. I'm thinking, no, this is not underconfident speaking. I really like I'm missing things. There's a skill that I don't have or a capability I haven't developed yet. And that's the same for leaders, like in terms of leadership or technical capabilities or stakeholder engagement or the context they're in, if it's corporate or government. Like those are all skill sets and capabilities that you need to develop. And this sort of doubt, I'm not sure I get this right, can actually open up the conversation for who can help me, what can I do, what who can I shadow, who can coach me or mentor me, and how what's the topic I need to get on top of in order to progress.
I love that. And mindset. So that's a continual practice, though, like working out and eating healthy, right, is our mindset. And you support people in being able to do that with the work that you do with the coaching, hypnotherapy. Is that right? So that
Yes.
because you can just go and take a wrong turn with your mindset, but then there's tools. I mean, we're all human, and then there's tools to go like you were just saying, shift or looking at, oh, there's a solution. Yeah, I don't have that skill. I can do something else. Where can I find that? And being able to do that, right? So it's a practice, I guess is what I'm getting
Yes.
at, all that to say.
Yes, it is, and that really informs the most effective pathway to success. Yeah? I did say that before. Like mindset alone doesn't write your strategy,
Right.
and capability alone with the right mindset might not get you there either. So it's really first an assessment on what's actually getting in the way, and then
Mm.
determining that, and then it's either mindset way first or capability. Because capability, I'm not for confidence at all costs because that might also be really unhelpful. Because if I'm just confident based on actually gaps that I really have, that would be overconfidence, and that makes blind, and I don't see then what I really need to adapt or what I do need to work on, or with my engagement being more straightforward, changing communication, like what is it? So it's about a healthy balance. I read about, look from other coaches around this unshakable confidence a lot of the time.
Mhm.
And I think it's the other extreme. Like self-doubt can really undermine you, but unshakable confidence isn't the solution either, because that can really dis sort of deflect and get you off track because you're not seeing what you might have really to change. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
that's why I also work a lot with emotional intelligence and assessments in that space and feedback and what how other people perceiving you. Is they do they really think you're great and you need to step into more confidence, or is it actually, well, hang on a minute, listen, you need to do this differently and be more concise in your communication and engage your stakeholders differently, or build more subject matter expertise, or you know so what is it that needs working on? So it's not an either or, it's not mindset above everything or capability above everything, it's really they're
Mm-hmm.
intertwined and they're married. To be successful they need to be married with each other.
Yeah, yeah. And emotional intelligence, God, I think that's podcast. That maybe that's our next one. To
Yes.
dive deeper into that.
Oh
There's
yeah,
so
look
many
then.
things we could talk about. I
Yeah,
mean, we could probably
yeah.
be here for hours, you and I. Um, but I do want to talk about this. So you combine executive coaching with clinical hypnotherapy deliberately because you believe conscious strategy alone has limits. So, will you talk about where it falls short and what changes when you work at the deeper level? And I just want everybody to know, like when I first saw your posts and I saw hypnotherapy, that was a lot of the reason I wanted to work with you because I knew it would bypass so many different things. So maybe I'll put that teaser out there and you pick it up now. Hmm.
Yeah, so it is the base for calmness, for confidence, and for working through matters that are an impediment, like anxiety, like overwhelm, like rumination, like self-doubt. Um, and it's very similar to what we said before about mindset versus capability. It's the same with strategy. So you need to have a clear view on what are options, what's the assessment, what's my goal, what do I want to achieve, and then make a strategy to there. And the deeper thought processes can help here or hinder here. You can have the positive view of, oh, I can work this out. I need to build this skill, get this person on board, do this. These are my measures, and then go for it and have a positive expectation and the positive belief that you can deal with bumps on the road that you're going to run into.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and that's why I say that's the distinction, you can have, yeah, well, I'm not sure I can do this, and there are three things I can do. And then there could also be a very undermining belief. People might trip me up, or I can't do this, or anything that actually consumes a lot of mental energy that distracts. I always say self doubt is learned self distraction. It distracts you from your goal because you're so busy in your mind on what could go wrong that actually you are missing the path and what to do to get it right. And the
Mm.
deeper patterns, we look at that, like what gets you off track and how can you get back on track. And it's the benefit of realizing what are learned experiences, what are patterns running in the background that are shortcutting the brain, distracting from the strategy work to dissolve that and have like a clear window. So I learned in my training what we're doing with hypnotherapy is clearing the window from automatisms and autopilots that are running that may get us off track to what's not applicable here, what's old learning, to have a clear window, see clearly at what's at hand, what needs to happen, what are the measures, then put together your strategies. Is very, very practical. Like that's really executive coaching, yeah, or career coaching. What once we know what might get in the way, can compartmentalize that and understand, comprehend, say, okay, this has nothing to do here in an accelerated manner, like you said, to then go into that strategy, build that strategy, and walk away with an action plan. And those are real building blocks in how I work. The first is the understanding of the mindset and unhelpful patterns that are running, working through those, understanding, building positive pathways, positive beliefs, updating the belief system, then build the strategy on assessment. Where I am, where do I want to go? What gets me there? What do I need to do? And then walk away with an action plan. And like in any coaching, really, it's about then holding clients accountable for that they're doing the actions that get them to success.
Mm-hmm.
And the unique approach is to combining the two. So I'm not only like hypnotherapist with working with anxiety or self-doubt or something, but really put that into practice and put that to work for professional success and progression and strategy building, even up to organizational transformation. Because in organizations, you also have a lot of doubt that may actually not originate from the situation, from the organization, but from the individual's mind.
Yeah, from those old tapes.
Yes, you could
And
say
I
that.
remember when I worked with you, I had a lot of anxiety and that, yeah, like it was gone. It was gone. I remember I had a lot of, and it was just our old tapes running that I didn't even know were running. And then working with you, it saved me. I have to say,
Oh,
like, it was so powerful because it's not fun to all of a sudden have anxiety hit you for like even no reason, or maybe there is a reason and it's just a thought pattern that was programmed in that, like if we think back to the days when we used to make mixtapes, well, the mixtape that was programming that, um, yeah, and we got to take that tape out and put a new mixtape in that was supporting me. And so I don't have to just all of a sudden just be like, you know,
mm,
yeah, because that's a terrible place to be. But also, it opened up my mind to see things in a different way because, and I know you've been saying that, and it's so true though. I want our audience to know it is so true. You just start seeing, like we talk about seeing outside the box, but you do. You see outside of your own box and you see different pathways and different things that you didn't see before. It's like you clean the glass and you see
yes.
far more clearly.
And you bring up out to the open things that are running in the background that you're not consciously aware of. Like you said, I didn't even know that the tape was running. Yeah. So
Mhm.
you are steered and navigated by something in the background that you don't even see. And there is the awareness below the awareness. So even things that you see, that you perceive, but you don't really understand. So things, memories that you have, yeah, when I was like 10 or 12, 15, whatever, that happened. But what that really does subconsciously and how that's rooted and how that's really driving you, that's something that's a different process of uncovering that. And once you really understand and see, oh God, this is what it does, you have this aha moment, and then you
Yeah.
can build new pathways forward and also practice new behaviors, um, and moving away from the old tape that's running, yeah, as you said.
I think that's why it's so important to work with somebody like you, Sabine, because you get down to that and what is running you, and you're able to change those tapes, quickly. And you have that support. And to me, that's a comfort. And you're such a kind, giving person too. So, um,
Oh, thank
but yeah.
you.
No, really, really. I love working with you. So,
And it's also getting the other person back in the driver's seat. It's more like we just talk about it, right? We talk about it
yeah,
and I'm empathetic, but it doesn't stop there. It's really okay. So what can you do now? So you know this
yeah,
now. What's the
yeah.
strategy? What are you gonna do next? So like when you say, look, I'm caring, yes, I'm deeply caring about clients, and oh, thank you for that. You're saying I'm kind. Yes, I hope so. But then it's also, look, this what has happened. This is how you stored it. This is how that's now sort of used to drive you in that way. And now you know that. And what's the next step? So what do you want to do? And it's always sort of this moving forward rather than, okay, we have explored now. We did sort of a regression and you have this understanding and this awareness and then goodbye. But it is,
Okay,
okay,
bye.
this
Yeah,
knowledge.
no, it's
What are
not.
you going to do differently now? And what's happening next? It's always this forward pull.
That is right. I do remember. Yes, yes, yes. And that was very powerful. It wasn't just over. It was like, okay, now, now we have this new tape. What are we going to do? I
Hmm.
really, yeah. Um, and that brings me to like the change. So your clients, is it a moment? Is it many moments? Maybe it's all the above.
Yeah,
You know?
it is all the above. So there is not the average response or the average, this is what changes immediately. Um, for some clients, it is not then suddenly not a topic anymore, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they come with this problem. They say, look, I'm really worried. I didn't get my promotion and it really eats away at me. I don't feel good enough. I do not know how to recover from this. And then it's an understanding and a sort of accelerated recovery, let's say, because you then consciously aware of what drives that and understanding that. And sometimes it's the shifting where you see, oh, I used to respond like that, but now I'm doing that anymore because now I'm thinking actually this, or what I used to think, oh, that's actually not right. That's actually wrong because things are different. And for some people, it's the immediate from here to here, and for others, there are more steps in between where they go from, I'm aware of this now, this is how I respond now, and then it's the new normal. Or they go from here, well, this is how it was, to this is the new normal, and actually I forgot about what the topic was. So you have really those major three pathways from understanding, working through things, moving forward, totally forgetting about it, and the in between, I see how my brain and my thinking shifts.
Yeah, I feel like I experienced all of them. Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah, there was progression, there was forgetting, there was, and I felt really good, and I felt good about me. I felt really good about me. And yeah, which was really, really important. And calm now,
Yes.
and confidence. Like, look at here we are at the
Yeah,
Magic in
there
the
we
Middle
go.
podcast.
And here you are, and doing the most amazing things. Yeah. So it's really this lighter that nothing is sort of dragging you down. So you're
Mhm.
worried, you're stressed, the brain has a negativity bias. Yeah. So you're not jumping right away off what could go wrong, but you put that to the side and say, well, actually, calm, here's peace. I'm not under threat. I have time to think. And these are the things that could go right. And this is what I have to do, yeah, to get there. Um, yeah, so it is calmness, it is confidence. And what also clients report back is that they feel lighter. And I do
Mm.
have free tools that I think also you are going to make available to your audience
Yep.
where it is about listening to an audio, and I also give you a few audios, yeah, for in between sessions, and they listen to the audio, and what people who are sort of new to this topic then sometimes think, now how can an audio help me to be more confident? Yeah, but then they give it a go, and then they see, well, all I can say, it's I felt lighter, I felt happier, you know, and I felt calmer. And then also another client once said, it's at the end of the week, I had a big week, but it was like my brain tapped into a different frequency. And I would like my brain to tap into that frequency more often, and I can actually feel joy again. And it's not like that everything's dragging me down, but I have this lightness and this sort of bit of a spring in my step, and I feel calmer and I feel more on top of things. And it's sort of not, you know, whatever happens is doesn't matter that much. Yeah, it's not so serious. That sort of things. Yeah, it's really lightness, happiness, more confident, calmness.
And I think that's really important to acknowledge because if you're if you're looking at it like, it's okay, everything's okay, and whatever happens, happens. But then solutions come that you didn't even think about because if you're stressed out, you're closing things out. Like we're kind of coming full circle, right? So um, I mean, it's really important. So, yeah, Sabine is giving to our audience, and it'll be in the show notes. It's a guided meditation or exercise that shifts your self-doubt and confidence. And so, then the thing that I like about this too is that and I asked her if she would give something to our audience because I want people to get to know Sabine. I want you to connect with her and be able to understand what she does and also feel her energy because it's beautiful. And the other thing that I'm going to put is there'll be a link to her website, which is new, a new website with new
Yes,
stuff, right?
yes. Yeah, so for your audience, the free confidence audio is available for download. 26 minutes in your own space, comfortable with your head supported, to really get into the calmness state first. So calm, no threat, everything is in peace, you can chill out, and then it works through effectiveness and confidence and seeing the picture of how you can confidently go about your day and not be worried about getting anything wrong. But it's really how you learn and how you grow, and everything is good, and getting your brain into that peaceful, non-threatened state. And that's a big step. Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's one. And that's also where then the lightness and happiness comes from, and sort of more like you're more walking lightly in your steps rather than being sort of heavily and having a heaviness. Yeah, that's what it does. That's what it shifts. And like you said, Sarah, very well so, it builds the foundation for getting thoughts and ideas you haven't thought of yet. And
Mhm.
sort of how I announce the whole thing, it's part of my mindset series, and it is to give space to yourself, explore new opportunities, and get new thoughts. Yeah. And some of them you might not have had before. So then it's really this, oh my God, I think of this now. Yeah. And also on the website, there's a section with free mindset tools. After heavy weeks, I talk about what's called the grayscale technique, how to like leave burdening stuff behind you by tuning down the colors in your mental eye when you look at a situation. There's a short video with an instruction on how to do that, and also for other difficult situations, stop and redirect, like techniques that also Sarah learned, where it's really accessible. You can watch the video, and it's 40 seconds to 1 minute, really short videos, and the tools get added to on a regular basis. So if you check today and then you check again in 2 weeks, there might be more stuff available. But my recommendation, start with the free confidence audio, not to overwhelm anybody. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Free
yeah.
confidence audio. Sarah has the link, and start with that and really give yourself some space, explore new ideas, and come up with new opportunities.
And do you think it's best to listen to in the morning, afternoon, evening, maybe all the above kind
All
of
of the
thing?
above. So
Yeah.
typically I recommend 7 days, to give it a go, 7 days,
Oh, okay.
once a week. Yeah, if you can, you can also do 3 days. I mean, play it by ear. It's all, you know how you feel, and you know how you feel best.
Yes.
Just general recommendation to give it a bit of time to sit, also depending on what other experiences you have. Um, it can be in the morning before your day to have this lightness going into your day, can be at the end of the day to reprocess if something was difficult, or during the day whenever there's time. Just please be mindful, not when you're operating machines or driving. So in a safe, comfortable space with your head supported, could be on your couch, in your bed, on your chair, just that your head is sort of leaning against something behind you, that it's comfy and your head is not falling down. So that's sort of all the practical instructions. And for the rest, really any time during the day in a safe space for 3, 4, 5, 7 days, and that should anchor this feeling of new spaces, lightness, happier, um, and new opportunities, new spaces, new ideas.
Thank you so much, Sabine. I so appreciate that. And the other thing is too, is Sabine, I'm gonna share her calendar so that if you want to have 20 or 30 minutes with her and you want to get to know her, you will be able to schedule time with her to get to know her. She's amazing, and I just can't say enough about what it's like to work with her. I've already said she supported me. I have more confidence. Look, I started this podcast and many other things that I'm doing, but also the panic is gone and I think more clearly and I think speak more clearly. And it's just nice to be around her. It's always nice to be around Sabine.
Oh, I'm so honored and humbled at the same time. Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you for working with me. Thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I think it's amazing. So I looked through the podcast, the other episodes, everything you're doing. Like, we regularly sort of touch base, and then I see from one to the next how you're developing and what you're doing. And I think this is awesome. Like, it's brilliant. And I think this was the best hour probably all week talking to you.
Me too.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope we speak again.
I hope so. I hope we get to do this more, Sabine. I would love to have you and we can, approach some other things and maybe go a little bit deeper. But really, thank you so much for connecting with our community and our listeners and listeners. I just want to thank you for being here with us at the Magic in the Middle. And when I say at the beginning and the end of each podcast, I so mean it. I am so grateful for everyone who listens, for everyone who participates, for everyone who leaves 5 stars, for sharing. Like, this is a really important thing that we're doing. And, it's allowing us to step into the greatest vision and version of who we are. And, I feel like at least I wasn't taught to do things like that. And it feels really good to feel good. And thank
Yes.
you, Sabine. You're part of that for me.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. All the best, and see you soon.
And